Hi everybody, all my followers, be welcome to another video. So the video today is on this 2008, if I'm not mistaken, Jaguar XF with the 2.7 liter diesel engine. I think this is the V6 engine, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't even opened the bonnet. Anyway, the issue with this car came from another place, from another garage, and what I was told is that they checked the ABS and they couldn't find anything wrong, so they asked me if I could have a look. Now, what is the issue with the car? I'm not gonna just drive the car yet, even because when they dropped the car, they said to me, well, this time it didn't happen, so who knows if we're gonna be driving this thing and nothing happens, but we'll see how it goes. So the problem with this is that apparently when you start to drive this car, they reckon somewhere between 4 to 5 miles, somewhere around there, a DSC, so dynamic stability control, warning comes on. Now I'm gonna start this thing and I'm gonna try to show you, because let me actually start it up. So what I was told, so as you can see, there is no warning lights, no nothing. So what I was told is that in this multifunction display, whatever, this little screen in the middle, there is a message coming up with a DSC warning. Now I don't have a photo, I don't have nothing, but yeah, it comes up in there. Now when they drop the car, I've asked them, is that any other light comes on? I even pressed the DSC light to illuminate the DSC warning there, and I've asked, does that light comes on? And they said no, it doesn't. So I'm going to turn it off. They said no, it does not. I've asked, does the ABS light comes on? And they said no, it doesn't. So apparently whatever message that is, it only comes up on that middle screen. So this is what I was told, and as you guys know, not always I'm told the whole picture. Nevertheless, guys, I think the first thing we're going to do is scan the car. Obviously, I think is the more logical step, is scan the car. I might go for a drive if I have to see if I can make that fault come up, whatever that is, but for now we'll scan the car, we'll see what's in there, and we'll carry on. Okay, this is the best position where I get less glare. I do apologize. So start again. After a auto scan, we get these modules with faults. I think I'm not going to be worried too much about the last two modules, so I'm not going to even go there for now. So we have a BCM with one fault, we have instrument cluster, and we have a ABS module. So as I said, the fault seems to be for a DSC fault apparently, so we are going to go straight to there and see what it tells us. Return pump circuit, return pump circuit, return pump circuit. Okay, let's see, is this the circulation pump? Perhaps. Let's see what it says. Is the phone, what this has to do with the, really? Okay, so I can see now, it actually came up as a 2009, but it doesn't really matter. 13 off, eh? I don't know. Really? What the heck is this? Okay, I'm not even sure what this is going to give us. Some sort of explanation maybe about that code. Okay, replace hydraulic if a module component is suspected. Okay, blah 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 blah. Okay, so I have a feeling that this is going to be my pump, perhaps. Return, hold on a minute, what does it say? Let's go and have a look at it again. Return pump circuit, return pump circuit. Okay, so return pump. So this is the valves, outlet and inlet valves, return pump. Okay, there's nothing here. There's nothing here for the motor itself. Now, will we have a valve issue or a motor issue? Let me inspect this pump. Let me see how this pump looks like, and we'll go from there. Okay, so what I've done next is I went through all these possible active tests, and I'm gonna do just the last one or a random one, doesn't really matter, just so you see that there is, and I'll explain it in a second. So when I press active, I want you to hear, so the pump lives right here underneath here. It's going to be a little bit of a pain in the ass to get to it, although I think this plastic here might comes off, I don't know yet. Anyway, when I press active, I want you to hear the pump. So this is me switching between active and inactive. Okay, so what I will say is, let me just get back inside the car. So what I've experienced doing these active tests is that every time I press any of these ones, you can hear this sort of clicking. So is a solenoid inside the pump that goes on and off. Some of them are more audible than some others. Some special the outlets are a little bit more. The noise is, excuse me, the noise is not so loud, but you can definitely hear the clicking inside the pump. And when these valves are on, you can hear the buzzing inside from the solenoid. So every single one of them, you can hear something. So it's not like if you press and nothing happens, which could indicate potentially a fault with the unit. The only thing I can't test here, unfortunately, as you can see, is the motor, which is the bit I want to test, because to me, the return pump, I have a feeling that is going to be the motor itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try something to see if it gives me any extra data, but I do strongly believe that this is going to be the pump itself. So that's where we are at the moment, but stay tuned on that side and I will take you through. Anyway, the code, as you can see, is C1B02-49. You have some here, a service manual that takes exactly the same screen as when I went through that question mark earlier. Through there, I was trying to see data stream, symptom, data stream, freeze frame. I was trying to see if this would show me a P code somewhere. Vehicle speed 13 kilometers per hour when this came up. I think this is for live date now. That's just that. Yeah, I don't think there is a P code for this, unfortunately. What's that? Something. Okay, so yeah, just bear with me. We're gonna try something, see if we get some extra information. If we don't, well, I'm inclined to think this is the pump anyway. Okay guys, I've just checked diagrams and there is something dodgy going on here. So the fuses for these, so there is two fuses for this ABS unit. I'm going to presume one fuse is to power the control module itself, and the other fuse, which is a 10 amp fuse, and the second fuse, which is a 40 amp fuse, I'm gonna assume that one's gonna be for the pump, because it's gonna be for the motor, which is gonna be the one that's gonna draw more current. And when you look at the fuses, so it's fuse number 5. It's fuse number 5. Oh dear me. It's fuse number 5, which, sorry, 25, which is that fuse in there. It should be a 10 amp fuse. So 1, 2, 3, 10 amp fuse. Already checked, the fuse is good. And the other fuse should be fuse number 5. So So 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. Fuse is missing. The blades are there. As you can see, this side, for example, only has one side of blades because the other side obviously is not needed. Those in there has nothing, but that one actually has the 2 blades. But the fuse is missing. So I'm a little bit confused right now with what the hell is going on. Why is this fuse missing? If they said to me they checked the pump, they checked the ABS system, I don't know if they checked fuses, but I'm not 100% sure. Still, before we do anything, I'm going to try something to see if we can get any more information. But yeah, definitely the diagrams showed me that fuse in place, which is in existence here. So what's going on here? Okay, and just before I do what I'm planning to do next, I just thought to do something else quickly, which is check if there is any other faults anywhere that can point to this issue, to the ABS issue or DSC issue, whatever. Lost communication, information, blood, door modules, lost communication, phone controls interface. No bother with that. Nothing here that can actually. Let's gonna look at my BCM. And my BCM body control module tells me ignition authorization. Not really bothered with that either. So it looks like there's no other modules. Then these 2 modules doesn't really matter, guys, to be honest. So it looks that like this fault is completely independent to the ABS module. This is not reporting any other faults to any other modules. So that's now going to do something else that I'm planning to do and see if that somehow help us. Who knows? Okay, and right, this is actually a couple hours later. I've been doing other stuff anyway. So I just been here, tried to see, as I was saying, tried to see if I could get any more information about this. I've got this running, and unfortunately, guys, not very good news. This, as you go and you scan for the DTC that comes up, it gives you this. So it basically tells you that you need to install a brand new or a new hydraulic control unit. There is a function here to run. Let me see if I can show you that, which is somewhere down here, which is this diagnostics on-demand self-test. So I already did it, but I'll do it again so you can see it happening. Right, so it's a test that does a quick check to the pump. Ignition is on. But unfortunately, even with it, so it's going to do that. So you're going to get all these warnings, okay? But he actually completes, which is really strange. But obviously, if you guys remember, that code is not present at the moment. So it's just strange that during this test, so it tells you that there is literally no DTC's recording during the test, so it's basically telling you that everything is okay, which is really strange. I could not find a way, even here I can't find a way to actually activate that pump. So I think I have a way of doing it. I just thought about something, and I think I know how I'm going to test that. In the meantime, guys, I found the fuse that was missing. The fuse was actually on the side. Let me show you. I found the fuse, but I don't know now why the fuse was removed. If someone else, so the fuse was actually here on the side. So maybe I need to watch the clip, see if when I was approaching the car, if you could see the fuse here. I think it was here somewhere or here somewhere. But I don't know now who did this. It was the last garage that on the inspection removed the fuse and never put it back. Or if this was done before this garage and they didn't notice this either. they didn't realize that was a fuse that should go in there, and therefore they just couldn't figure it out. I'm not 100% sure. It's going to be really silly, guys, if this is just a fuse. But if it is a fuse, it is a fuse. It is what it is. So, but yeah. So what I'm going to do now is I have an idea how I'm going to test that motor, but we need to go on a road test. I've got to do a few tests. Oh dear me. We're going to do a few tests and see if that helps us out. But yeah, so far that's where we are. I'm not going to take JLR with me. The laptop is a little bit more tricky to use. I'm going to take the Maxi 6. And that's about it, really. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. Okay, just before we go, first time, guys, for me using JLR. I just recently got these laptops set up. It's not even set up properly. This is the moment it's running on a virtual machine. It runs with the J2534 from Hotel. It runs perfect. But yeah, as the moment it's running on a virtual machine, I want to extract the virtual machine into a native installation and install everything properly. It looks like it's working quite well, so at the moment am I going to keep this one. But just before we go, as I was just about to disable these, I've noticed that when I performed this test, the last time I did execute that function, I went and I had to clear the codes for the faults to go away, because after I performed that test, it stays like this. The DSC light and that warning light, orange one, doesn't go away. And it's interesting to see that when you come then obviously here again, it tells you there is a historic DTC, which most likely was raised during the test, I guess. But the information for this DTC now, as you can see, changed. So it's still the C1B02, but it changed to full type 16. Okay, general electrical failure. So I have a feeling that this might be because of that fuse. So it could be that, oh, I'm really confused right now. What I want to do, guys, is just go on a drive and make this ABS to act up without the fuse connected, and with the fuse connected I want to see if the fuse blows. It could be that there is actually something wrong. Guys, it is a shame I can't really run that pump. If anyone knows where you do that on JLR, please let me know, because I just don't. I can't find a place where to run that. There is a place where to run all the solenoids, etc., but not the pump itself, which is really, really strange. Right, let me try. I don't know. Oh, initial vehicle state. What's that? Session change. No, I don't want to change. Good show time column. Spurt data. What's that? Okay. 13 volts. Okay, some stuff. Okay. Let me try one more thing before we go. Okay, so at the moment I've put the fuse, a fuse in there again. Let me perform this test again. I guess it's gonna be successful again. I'm just curious to see. Let me. Okay, so that gives me the same result, obviously. This is still the same because it's still there. Unless, hold on, what if I go there? Let me try something here, guys, quickly. So the fuse is now in place. Let me come here and do a clear all diagnostic codes, because I want the fault didn't go away, or these faults. So let's go into clear everything. Okay, so the faults are gone. And now I want to perform that test again, but this time from scratch with the fuse in place. Okay. Sorry guys for taking your time through these screens and not really giving you much information, but it is real life. Okay, so ignition off, ignition off. Okay, ignition on, ignition on. Let's continue. Okay, so let's gonna go back to DTCs. It's gonna still show you my DTCs. Really, I need to read all DTCs again, I think. Reread all the DTCs again, right? Run. Okay. Let's read this. Okay, so no faults on the ABS now. We'll just have a quick look to make sure, but we'll let it to finish this. Okay, so I actually had to go and restart a new session because this thing would just not allow me to get rid of that initial code. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to see if I can do crap. Oh no, is there self-demand diagnostic code. So there is no codes on the ABS module at the moment, so I'm going to show you here. As you can see, so this is the only modules that came up with faults. Again, I'm not too. Comes here something with the DAB radio is intermittent. Okay, so I'm not worried about this stuff. So I'm going to go to recommendations, and we're going to go down here and do another run on this. At the moment, as I said, the fuse is installed. Can't really hear any noise coming from the unit. Heard a click now. That's about it. Okay. Absolutely fine. And again, my ABS module now, or my lights now, they stayed on. So I'll go back to DTC, see if no, nothing came up here now. It's not what I want. I want recommendations. And I want to go to, it's gonna read all these codes again to see exactly what we have now. I want to see which code comes up with the fuse in place. There we go. So now we came up with a code now. Just, doesn't take too long. Yeah, so my faults now stayed after the test. So let's gonna see what my DTCs are. ECU. There we go, back to the 49. So it doesn't come up with the 16 anymore, which is the code that comes up. So it's really weird because it tells you there is no faults no DTCs, but then it shows you these DTC, and it shows you is a temporary historic DTC, and we go back to the same code, internal electronic failure. But because it's coming up for that return pump circuit, I'm not 100% sure if that's not going to be actually my issue. Okay, let's gonna try something then. Let's gonna do the test I wanted to do nearly 10 minutes ago on the video, and see if that takes us anywhere. Okay, and I'm really confused with, well, I guess again I should have not trust what they told me. Obviously both lights come on, the DSC light comes on, that light in there comes on, along with the message in the middle. It didn't even took me to the end of the road, to be fair. I drove a little bit longer. Obviously here, this area here where I'm parked at the moment is gravel. I can confirm there is no ABS at all. So, and my fault code again is back to that. Okay, now there is an issue with this car as well that I've noticed while I was driving it, but that's something that I don't think it would affect that whatsoever, which is the steering wheel comes, for the car to go straight, the steering wheel goes somewhere like this. It actually goes at about 15 degrees to go straight. Obviously in the event of the car needs to activate the stability program, is going to take in consideration the steering position, etc, etc, and because the steering is so off, the car always going to try to activate thinking the steering is in one position that is actually not. So I'm going to advise them to obviously get it straight and align the car, but that shouldn't affect that. So to me, guys, enough of these now. I'm going to go back. I'm going to try to take that motor out perhaps. The motor is secured with 2 screws. I think I might be able to get to those screws or those bolts without having to remove the whole unit. If I can't, it's going to be a unit out, I guess. So I'm going to start take things into bits and see how far we can get today. So I think the next step is going to be there. So I believe this is going to be a unit, whatever, repair, replacement, motor. I guess we will find out. Okay, I don't think the camera is going to pick up this, but to remove, okay, so to get to the unit, I remove this crossbar to give a little bit more access. I remove this pedestrian thingy for the bonnet, this sort of airbag thing. I remove the ECU to get to this, and then I unplugged the thingy, and I'm not going to be able to see these last 2 pins right at the bottom. Yeah, there is a little bit of corrosion on them. You're not going to be able to see it. The camera is not going to pick this up, but there is ain't going to be no chance. There is corrosion at the pins at the bottom. So yeah, it would have been a poor contact in there, maybe. Not sure yet. Not sure yet. Okay, just curiosity, I'm back probing so I removed the fuse and I'm back probing the pin or the blade that's supposed to come to here. The other blade has voltage, so the other one will have to be the one that comes into my unit here. So let me just show you, it is coming. Oh, but it's not coming where I thought it might be. So what I'm going to show you guys is that pin, so the one that the fuse was missing, it comes right here to the top. Okay, so it's on the top of the plug, and the bottom 2 wires, they look like ground to me. They are black wires and they look like ground. So I'm going to load test, well, not really load test, but I'm going to try to load test there. I'm going to try to load test the circuit with my test light, although my test light obviously is very low load, but it should be enough just to quick test if we have grounds in there. Don't know if it's gonna, so bottom pins, yeah, we have a ground in there. Bottom pins, we have a ground in there. So I don't think really this would be the issue. Even because if it was the issue, it should give, I don't know, it's a little bit, but it's nothing. I mean, it's not too bad. Even the pins inside, they look, it's not like if they are full of corrosion. It's just a tiny bit, which we will clean before we put everything back in, obviously. But I don't think this would be the issue, to be honest. So how to remove this pump? I need to take this wall bracket, isn't it? So this bracket goes there. I take the pipes and remove this entire bracket. Oh, will I be able to take this motor first? That would be ideal, to be fair with you. That would be absolutely ideal. Let me see what I can do. Okay, so I managed to remove that cover that goes here on the side. So I have easy access to both screws. I think it should be enough for the motor to slide back if I need to take it off. I started to undo the bolt, but then I stopped. And I decided that I would do a test before I go any further. So what I've done is I've cleaned those pins using those files I already showed you on previous videos. So I've cleaned the pins, sprayed a little bit of contact cleaner, and then a little bit of WD-40 just to easy the connections. Slide it in and out a few times, the plug, put it back on. Before that, I measured all the wires from the fuse box. There's actually 3 fuses, I missed one. There is 225, there's a 40 and 25 amp fuse that comes to the 2 pins right at the top. So obviously one was missing at the start when I've showed you. Anyway, those connections are good. Then you have pin 7, if I'm not mistaken, that comes from the fuse 5, which is a 10 amps. And then you have obviously the the grounds right at the bottom, which was where that corrosion was. So everything's plugged in. The only thing I haven't plugged in is this airbag, but it doesn't really matter, we can clear the fault later. But everything else is plugged in, just so we can go and test. If you guys remember, I'm just putting the SSD again, because SSD will give you that facility to do an on-demand test, which would trigger straight away the fault for that circulation pump or return pump. So if that fault comes back straight away, then we will know it's not from there, and I'll proceed then to remove the pump. Okay, so I guess I should have said the motor. So I've just cleared all the codes. Obviously the 2 lights went off straight away, so it's now asking me to turn the ignition off. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to perform a on-demand self-test again. If you guys remember before, as soon as I would do that, that would trigger the code straight away again. If that code comes up again, then I think I'll be position 2 and continue. So if that code comes up again, then I'll be removing the pump, and I'm gonna leave the motor, and I'm going to leave the okay. So there's no lights, as you can see. Okay, other than the pedestrian, that's for the airbag for the bonnet. So let's gonna go and do this test again. Okay, there we go, all my lights start to come on. Let's see what happens when you finish. Okay, nearly there. Okay, recommendations. And everything went off. This is interesting. Right, I guess if I come here, it's gonna still show me the DTC from before, obviously. Yeah, it still shows. Okay, so I think, if I recall correctly, last time I had to delete all the codes. I'm gonna delete all the codes and then log in again, because that's what I had to do last time. Clear all the let's gonna do that again. Okay, I'll be back in a second. Okay, so I've just redone a read of all the codes, and as you can see now, the code is not there, and as you can see in there, that tick means that is no longer reported by the ECU. So the code is not there at all anymore. So I'm going to do the wall thing again. Let's try this again. Let me do this test again. Oh dear. I heard the motor this time. I heard the motor this time. Definitely. Guys, I really need to show you this. I heard the motor spinning. I'm really gonna have to show you this in a second. Hold on, let's just confirm that no codes came out. Yeah, nothing came up. Okay, I could have hold on. Before I do it, before I read all the codes again, let me do this test again. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the... Hold on. Okay guys, so the camera is pointing to the motor, as you can see. I put that little bit of gravel on top because if the motor runs, it should be kind of provoking some sort of vibration. I hope the bolts are 100% done, but I'm going to perform the thing again. Then we'll have a look at to see if it triggers any other faults. But I definitely heard the motor spinning this time, which I never heard before. So I'm going to do it. I'm not going to be able to see it, but I will obviously review the footage later. But I'm going to do it now. Okay guys, I think you've seen it. I'm just doing it again and again and again. I want to make sure it doesn't bring any issues more. But you've seen it. The pump definitely turned. The motor ran, which it didn't run before. After this test, I would be left with a beautiful warning lights. And now, well, actually, let me go back here. Let's gonna rescan the car again. That would throw a code straight away, but let's gonna reread. Oh wait, let's gonna read these again, read all the codes again. And but looks like that was the issue. I'm actually quite surprised. ABS, yes, no codes. Wow, looks like we have a fix. So the only thing I need to do now is go for a test drive. I'm not gonna put everything back on. I'm just gonna put a couple screws in there to hold the ECU and some other bits. We're gonna go at the end of the road for a test drive. We're gonna make these ABS to work on the road. We're gonna stamp the foot on these brakes, make sure it works, make sure the pump runs. But guys, it looks like that was the issue. Another thing I'm going to do just before I go, I'm going to remove that plug again, and I'm going to put some dielectric grease on the pins, especially those two pins at the bottom, and to obviously make sure a good contact. But other than that, looks like we are ready for a test. Okay, just leaving. We're going to go for a test drive. I will report back in no time. Okay, and before I go, I just want to say that the fault was coming up even before I get to where that van just turned, which is the end of this road. So the fault was coming back even before I get to there. But anyway, I'm planning to test these ABS. I'm not going to say to the limit, but test it properly. So yeah, so let's go. Okay guys, so far so good. I'm just going to give you a very quick demonstration that the ABS is working absolutely fine. And what I'm gonna do is, so I'm on this road. I think this is private, but I'm literally just off the main road into here, so I'm just gonna go for a couple of meters. But I'm gonna accelerate and then press down. So drive. Okay, I don't know if you can hear it, but the ABS is definitely working. So I'm gonna have to find a better road because I think this is private. But yeah, I'm gonna find a better road, and I'm gonna try this airbag, these ABS as much as I can. This is a quite country road, if that makes sense. Even the main road just behind me in there, so I can always go on the side of the road on the verge and just try it, keep trying it to see. But it's working perfect. Light didn't came on yet, so looks like we have a fix, but only time will tell, and a few more testing. This road is beautiful for this because I go on one side, I test these two wheels, go on that side, I test those wheels. But the problem is, it looks like it's gonna start raining, and I left some of the stuff on the floor outside. So plus I have no covers there or anything like that, so any water will just go obviously everywhere, including inside the cabin. So I need to drive back, but so far guys, it's beautiful. So yeah, to me, we have a fix. I'm gonna drive back home, put it all back together, carry on testing obviously until I get home, in case if something develops, but looks like we have a fix, and then we will wrap up this video if nothing happens, if it stays good. Okay, see you in a bit. Okay, and this is like an hour later, maybe a little bit more. I actually go back home, everything is back together, so there's nothing to see in there now. Everything is back in place. But what I've done before I put everything back in place was I've actually dismantled the plug for the ABS module, because I wanted to see how the pins were. Those two pins at the bottom, the other pins were all cleaned anyway, but only those two at the bottom. I wanted to see how bad they were inside the plug itself, not on the module. The module, I've cleaned them, they were fine. Inside the plug, they were actually not too bad. Majority, if not all, the corrosion was actually where the pins make contact. So I've gave it a better cleaning, and then I put the plug back together, put some dielectric grease, quite a lot actually, on those two pins, so when you slide them in, they get pretty much covered on that grease. And then I put everything back together. I went for another drive, not as extensive as the first one. This time I went for about 5 minutes, but enough to test the ABS properly. Fine as before, no issues at all. Go back home, I've cleared the codes before I went. I will do another auto scan just so you guys can see that there is only one fault coming back, which is for the HVAC system, which is low refrigerant pressure. So it's basically the air conditioning, excuse me, basically the air conditioning needs recharging. So yeah, in the end was nothing wrong with the unit itself, even though even JLR was reporting a faulty module and was saying to replace the module. I think what was happening, guys, I might be wrong here, correct me if you think I'm wrong. I think what was happening was obviously the poor ground on those two pins. Probably the ground was just about enough, was just enough contact to keep the module running. But every time the module was tried to activate that pump for testing, which I believe I thought you would have tested the unit every time you turn the ignition on. Maybe doesn't. The two times I went, as soon as I start to drive, before I got to the main road, the light would come back on. Maybe the day they brought me the car, I don't know, the way he was, maybe he was making some good contact or a better contact, and it was not enough to trigger the fault. But I think what was happening was because that contact was bad, it was just enough to keep the unit running, which obviously it doesn't draw a lot of current if it's just the unit running normal with nothing being activated. But when was tried to run that motor, probably because it was at the same time as the unit was tried to run that motor, the ground would drop too much, and the pump, I think the unit possibly would kind of restart quickly, or would go on a low voltage, I don't know. But because it was happening at the same time, rather than the module, well, the module was keep reporting a fault for that, but was saying internal fault because everything was happening at the same time. So that's the way I'm looking at this, and that could have possibly be what was causing the issue. Obviously, guys, I've tested it. It's okay. It's not acting up anymore the way it was before. ABS is working. I'm quite confident this is fixed for the time being, and I don't think there's nothing wrong with that unit, to be fair with you. As you can see, there's only one fault coming back, which is for the HVAC system. The rest of the car is absolutely clean. So that's it. Now I'm going to move these cars, and I'm gonna start on that ML320, I think it is. And that's it, guys, for this video. That's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. I hope there's some information here you guys can find useful. If you do have any questions, any comments, please put them below. And like always, thanks for watching.